Namaste, Jai Shri Mataji. My name is Sanjay Roshan Talwar. I am the founder of Immaculate Ideal Human Foundation, a 100% non-profit NGO. The purpose of this NGO is that it wants to convey a message of spiritual awakening through meditation to our society by making meaningful feature films which has stories in which we are able to convey a very, very simple message about human transformation and the need for it in today's times. As you know that we survive in the darkest of times of existence today in human history, with so many environmental hazards, viruses attacking us, illnesses and wars looming large because of social unrest and people biting into each other's land or each other's territory of personal interest, not focusing on where they should be focusing and getting muddled into a very unhealthy atmosphere which has been created around. And this is actually the creation of man himself. Unfortunately, this is the state of affairs in which we are here today. And I met with Her Holiness Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi way back in 1982. And in 1984, she introduced me to Sahaja Yoga, which is the awakening of the Kundalini, a sleeping dormant energy inside us, which is in every human being. And she initiated that energy within me and she awakened it. And then it went up its path of evolution in the central channel, which is the Sushumna Nadi. And it opened all my chakras, the plexuses as they call it in medical science. And through that, it opened a lot of opportunities within me in my personality, which I was not able to comprehend or gauge at my end. So this was the beginning of Sahaja Yoga, a technique which Shri Mataji discovered in 1970. And I was one of her subjects that she took me in as a study as well as the experience of it. And I was fortunate that throughout 1984 and up till she took her Samadhi in 2011, which makes it a good about 36 to 37 years, I had some exclusive moments of joy and experience of self-awakening through the Kundalini energy. The changes that happened in my life were that I was a good-for-nothing man in my good old childhood days. I used to feel that I am totally a recluse, a spent force, and there's nothing left in me. People used to condemn me, whether in school or at home. But at the age of 27, when I met Shri Mataji, I was just married with one girl child. And she took my hand and she told me that you were born to be an artist. So I discovered that I could write poetry, I could compose music, I could sing songs. And I was fortunate that I traveled all over the world with her, with this awakening as part of my being. And I discovered a lot of truths about life. And I also found that a lot of changes happened, a lot of transformation happened in my life, which was a turning point for me in understanding what life really meant for me. Now, what I can only say here is that I found all the happiness that I was looking for as a child with her. And traveling with her, I saw how she was caring about the whole world and how much she felt that the whole world was one and that every human being within him has this energy that can be awakened. And with the awakening of this energy, he is able to unlock in his chakras, in his plexuses, which is within his body in the central part, a certain personality trait or a certain improvement in the functionality of his body organs where the chakras are located, within the body. And my personal experience was that I started becoming well. I had certain issues with health. I noticed the same health improvement happened with my father, with my parents, then with my other family members who also started practicing Sahaja Yoga Meditation. And by and large, we felt as a family a very, very happy and a contented family. I don't think any bad times I can recollect with our family. And so, किसी तरह से कहते हैं कि ऐश्वर्य means you got all the blessings over these years that I had spent with her, traveled all over the world. I sang songs which are written by me on the basis of her teachings, and those songs could make entry straight into people's hearts. And there was melody in it, there was bhakti, there was a message of the awakening, and that has touched a chord with a lot of my brothers and sisters, because Sahaja Yoga from 1970 till date has spread to over 170 countries, because there is no bar in color, creed or sex or religion. As she says that all human beings are one and they have this energy within themselves which is the same in all, and if it is awakened, all of us can attain that peace within ourselves. So not only the peace, there is a mental well-being, there is a physical well-being, there is a spiritual well-being, and there is an overall well-being. You don't only achieve this for yourself, but you are able to spread it around you. You sort of create some sort of an aura or a magnetism about your personality that people are able to draw something out of you. So your life becomes very important for its existence and sharing with the world. So the biggest thing I have learned from my experiences, all the gains that I have had, is that they must be shared. And so I embarked upon this mission soon after she took her samadhi in 2011. It took me about 5-6 years of extensive research into how I could use or manifest the powers that I had gained or I had achieved through this meditation over these 38 years, that how could that transform into an artistic expression of how I could communicate this with the world around me. So in her presence, I had already learned how to communicate this message through my poems, through my songs, through bhakti bhav, and she gave me the skill of talking and orating. I could talk extempo and explain the whole concept, because once you felt it, once you've become part of it, you actually can make people feel it yourself. This is the greatness of Sahaja Yoga and the method of communication that I have learned from Her Holiness. And I took this upon myself to form this NGO through which I could muster up artists from all around me who had similar thinking, and they wanted to change the world, transform the world into a better place to live. As you all know, life is full of challenges, and we have our mental issues, and we have our relationship issues. We have so many issues with our lives, and we have to deal with it. And sometimes we fail in resolving many points, and therefore they become a point of misery, and life becomes a suffering. When I have come here with my NGO to create films, and in these films, what I'm point making to you is that as a society, I want these films to change your life to become better. So first of all, first share with you what this awakening is about through simple stories. My first venture has been GRIHALAKSHMI The Awakening, which I produced in 2018. I could manage a good team of actor, director, and technicians from the Bollywood industry. Luckily, I come from a background of a family that has been into film producing, financing, and connected with the Bollywood big big timers, but I never sort of went up begging to them for anything. I just took this upon myself that I had the wherewithal to share what I wanted to share with you. So therefore, I took to the Bollywood style of communicating through cinema. And this first film, GRIHALAKSHMI The Awakening, was based on the story of two sisters where they have some conflict in life, which is normal in any family. And due to the conflict, we sometimes don't have resolutions, but Sahaja Yoga Meditation, one of the sisters introduces, and so the other sister takes it on. And then she finds that the conflict is resolved between the two of them. And there are feelings of materialism that exist in every human being. These materialism feelings can tend to take us very, very far, to the extent that we can even commit a crime. And crime has now become a way of life in our society. Well, here I wanted that we should have a very simple story in which we are saying that there is a solution here, that you don't have to nurture those feelings which lead you to take an extreme step in life, but you can bring your life to balance by doing this Sahaja Yoga meditation. And through this, you can probably get your inner desires satisfied. So her inner desire was to marry a very rich family and be very wealthy. But she did manage to get into that, but through a little bit of an illusion that she wasn't in it, and then she got it. So therefore, that's the mystery of the story, and that's how an entertaining story in a cinema has to unfold to make it interesting. I used my music there of awakening, which I had learned from Shri Mataji. It worked very well because it was very popular among all my brothers and sisters who now practice Sahaja Yoga in these countries. This movie eventually has run for 2.5 years in Hindi, in English, and in different languages. It has been subtitled, dubbed in English, and shown in about several countries now. More than 2 lakh households all over the world have taken their awakening and self-realization from this film, and they have found a lot of pleasure and satisfaction with their life by watching this film. Now, one small point I wanted to make here was that cinema, I have been a cinema buff for a long time, and I've been watching films since a child. I used to watch 2 to 3 films a day sometimes. And I used to realize that this influences our psyche, it influences our society. And we know that the kind of cinema that prevails today in this world, whether it's Bollywood or Hollywood, they all are commercial, they all want to make money, and for that they play on human emotions, and they are bringing in all sorts of ideas which our young children and our young audiences are sort of imbibing in terms of drugs and sex and violence and bad language and lots of sorts of things which are voodoo in society, that people want to break the law, break the rule, and then show it as an entertainment. Now, this has gone far beyond. The society has been quite damaged by these kind of films, and they continue to rule the OTT platform much more than the normal cinema, because that is still guided by the rules of censorship. Yet, the thought has not prevailed in our cinema goers as well as the cinema makers, that they need to deal with this method of communicating through cinema more seriously by trying to change the way things have now turned out to be. They're really very sad state of affairs in our society, that entertainment is being used, and more crime is happening because of these kind of cinemas that are giving ideas to people. And young people are also taking to wrong stuff like sex and drugs and foul language and cheating. And so this never used to prevail in the early years when these kind of cinemas were not there. So I can say that cinema has been influencing our society quite to the negative effect. So my whole idea of doing this through films was that we could make a positive change in the society. It is a new type of cinema. It is a new content. It is supposed to take you a little bit by surprise. But if you look back to some kind of cinema that used to be there by Rishikesh Mukherjee or Vasu Chatterjee, and films like Piya Ka Ghar, you don't get to see those kind of films anymore. But they were the real heart-warming, heart-touching, simple family dramas that showed you little values for which they were worth watching. And we miss those films. They're never made now because everything is so commercial. So therefore, I wanted to go to the wrong side of the tide a bit. And that is why we became non-profit. We didn't want to focus on making money, but somehow we wanted to bring this idea out, which came out very well through this film, GRIHALAKSHMI The Awakening. It has won a few awards overseas in international festivals, as well as special mention, and people have liked what we have done, but yet it's not enough. We learned from our one film, and now we have gone ahead and launching our new film called MAHALAKSHMI PATH, The Evolution. So GRIHALAKSHMI meant the binding of the family by the core woman in the house who has to be respected, and take it further to the next level. The same story, that how a GRIHALAKSHMI eventually transforms a whole family into the righteous path, which is called the Mahalakshmi Path, the path of evolution. This is what Sahaja Yoga teaches us. So as the story unfolds, you will come to learn more about each and every display of characters' role against the life challenge that he picks up, and each how the chakra involved, the plexus involved, opens up an answer to that query and then takes you to the higher level of evolution. And therefore, at the end of the story, again, it's been knitted in a very interesting format so that it uses the current way of making films, making entertainment with nice songs, with nice effects as the Bollywood industry offers. But it's a message. It's a message of self-improvement. It's a message of giving something back to the society. And I'm sure when you watch this film, which we're going to shoot very soon, you are going to love it and you're going to ask for more. And this is the type of content we want to produce in our future ventures also. Right now, this message is more so for all those of you who are listening and to me today, that it is an appeal that we need funds to make this film Mahalakshmi Path. Though we are all ready with the story, it's a beautiful story, as I told you what's it about. And it is going to be a 2-hour film, and shot in the best of Bollywood style with the best of actors that we can get hold of, not new actors, but real actors. Maybe not well-established names, we can't afford them, but yes, we have one of the best names in the industry for direction, Mr. Prashant Nayak, who is with the Whistling Woods as the head of Department of Editing, ex-FTII and a President Award winner. He will be our director. We have Adri Thakur as the cinematographer, who has several films to his credit. He is a very professional cinematographer. And then we will be having Dhananjay Dhumal, who's a great music director. And since the age of 3, he has been in music, so you can imagine how much music there is in him. 2 songs we have done. Those videos you will be able to see. We will give you the links. Other than that, we have Kavita Krishnamurthy, the great yesteryear singer, who has given one song, beautiful song for this film. And then we have of course, there are a lot of other members like Manik Batra, who is a very good sound engineer, whom we are trying to rope in to give us sound post work. Plus we have the facilities of the Whistling Woods, which is in Bombay, which is taking care of the film industry's output of talent, which comes out in Mumbai. And so the entire film is going to be made thoroughly professionally, very enjoyable for you to watch. Only my only concern is that I would like some good OTT platform to pick this up, and so that we can make several series for you. And even the cinema theaters, I must say, GRIHALAKSHMI was welcomed so beautifully. For 2.5 years, it went houseful, 200 shows in India. Now, there is a huge lot of material that we have there for you to see. Please have a look. We have a budget. The budget is almost running into 2 crores, but I think we should try and do it as less as we can try. We don't want to spend too much money, but if the film has to be made, it has to employ a certain number of people from the film industry, and it has to follow a certain kind of a norm, which we want to also adhere to. And we have been lucky with the CBSC, with the censor board. The censor board, in fact, granted us clearance within hours of watching the film GRIHALAKSHMI. And they said, why don't you come up with these kind of films? This is what today our society needs. And so we are here to actually help the civil society rise in their value systems by helping them know what is Sahaja Yoga, how this is to be practiced, practical application of life incidents in our movie and songs and entertainment. And therefore, it's a new kind of cinema which will remind you of those good old days of Rishikesh Mukherjee or Basuda and other some great filmmakers of those times whose fields have been lost. But we want to bring that to life and want you to please come forward, be our donor or be our supporter or be our investor, and do this your little bit for the society. Like so many technicians have come and joined my team, and many of them wanted to work for free. Many of them work for very, very less amount. And yet we have to spend about 2 crores to put this film together. We are not able to muster up that much through our NGO because we generally depend only on donations. But yes, if you come forward with your donation or with your whatever you wish to do for us, please help us and let's help together change the society. My whole report is there in front of you. Have a look and then be in touch with me. I'll be always there to guide you through any questions or any doubts you have about this effort of ours. I, on behalf of my entire team of Immaculate Ideal Human Foundation, thank you for giving me such a long and patient hearing. God bless and Jai Shri Mataji.